Alrighty, let's get straight into it. On the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to see the checklist, and just above my head here, you'll see the charts. Now, I'm going to go through 4 examples today. I'm going to break them down, talk about why these setups are A+, and this checklist will actually allow you to pick A+ setups. It'll allow you to weed out the bad setups and risk more when the conditions are good. This chart here, you can see a few things. So I've marked out a buy-side sweep. This gray box is a 15-minute FVG, and we're going to go through the checklist and just mark things off. So if we zoom across here, you can see that red box, 15-minute bearish gap. We move across, you can see our price has tapped into that. So we're going to go through the checklist now, and we're going to tick things off that are there. And if it does not exist, we're going to put a cross. In the framework, we can see on the charts, are we inside of a macro or plus or minus 5 minutes on either side? Yes. Do we have SMT? On this day, we didn't. So I'm going to put a little cross. Do we have a sweep of liquidity? Yes, we do. We've got a sweep of buy side, so I'm going to tick this. Are we in OTE or deep premium and discount? No. Why? Because we've swept buy side. Doesn't make sense. Are we delivering from a fair value gap? Yes. Do we have impulse created from an inverse fair value gap? Yes, we do. So I'm going to tick that as well. And do we have low resistance to target? And let me have a look here. Yes. Heaps of low resistance, relative equal lows, trend line liquidity. Perfect. So can you see now that with this checklist, if I tick this off here, we've ticked off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things out of 7. This makes this an A+ setup. The more things you tick, the better it is. So let's now get into example number 2, and this is from the 450 to 510 macro. Now the thing to ask yourself always is these questions, right? This checklist is pretty much what I use, but I use this in my head. A lot of people want to have a checklist to tick off, and this is for you guys. So firstly, are we inside of a macro here? And the answer is yes. I'm going to tick that. Do we have SMT between the lows? Well, what we need to do, there's 2 forms of SMT. There could be lower time frame SMT or higher time frame. Firstly, let's check the 1-minute chart on the ES chart here. Is there SMT between these 2 lows? No, we've both swept the sell side. The next thing to check is the 5-minute chart or the higher time frame SMT, because that could also exist. So, and the answer is no. Well, if you have a look here, you can see that we haven't swept the low here, we haven't swept the low here, so there's no SMT. And again, go through this checklist, we're going to tick and cross things out. Do we have a sweep of liquidity? Yes, we do. We'll go back to the 1-minute chart, and I showed you guys that already. We do have that sweep of sell side. And so you're just ticking these things off. And you're going to find, right, you'll find that the best setups that you take will have majority of these things. The worst setups that you take, the ones that you lose on, the ones that you enter and they don't even go to your break-even point, they're the ones where these things are not even ticked off in the market. Are we in OTE or a deep premium and discount? Well, let's have a look. Let's zoom out. And I would say yes, we are, because we've got a range low here, we've got a range high there, and when we come down here, we're in a deep discount. So I'm going to tick that off. We're in a deep discount. Are we delivering from a FVG? Yeah, it looks like there's one over here. Let me just confirm that on the 15-minute chart. Yes, we are. So we've got a 15-minute fair value gap here, and you can see we're delivering from that. So we're ticking things off, right? Do we have impulse inversion or inverse with a change in the state? Yes, we do. And do we have low resistance to target? Let's just double check here. And again, I want to make this easy to understand so you guys can actually implement this in the future. I want these YouTube videos to be really helpful. So if you're coming from the community, maybe this will really help you. If you're coming new to the channel, welcome. But here we go. Where's the change in the state? The change in the state happens right here when we close above these candles. So that's really nice. Do we have low resistance to target? No, we don't. So I'm going to cross that off there. But how many do we have ticked? Again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things out of 7 ticked, which makes it a valid trade. Anything over 4, right? 4 or more is valid. 5, 6, 7 things ticked. It's a trade that it's a no-brainer, and then you probably should be risking more on, because risk on in some situations would mean all these things are ticked off. Now, the important part is, well, Ruben, where do I take my profits? Where do I take my partials? Well, start with a 1-to-1 and then hold runners. That's what I'd say. So for example, here on this short position, you can do this, stop above the bodies, take a 1-to-1 and then hold to the low resistance. Entry comes from here, stop goes below these bodies. Start with a 1-to-1, you'd probably get stopped at break even, but the rest is history, happy days. And if you enter an A+ trade, it shouldn't be an issue in terms of reaching a TP. Alrighty, so we're going now into the New York session. This is the 950 to 1010 macro between these 2 vertical lines. I've just extended that 5 before and 5 after. Number 1, are we inside of a macro? Yes. Number 2, do we have SMT? Let's double check on the 15-minute chart. And let's have a look at the NASDAQ compared to ES. So what you can see here, the NASDAQ swept this high. Let me just mark this out. The NASDAQ has swept this high there. Has ES swept these highs? And we're going to compare them side by side. So this high here in the NASDAQ, or here in the ES chart, I should say, is this high here in the NASDAQ. And you can see the NASDAQ, right, has swept this high where my cursor is. whereas ES on the right-hand side of the chart has not. So yes, there is SMT. We are going to give that a tick. And we do have a sweep of liquidity, yes, because the NASDAQ has swept this buy side. Are we in a deep premium or discount? Well, the range here is from this swing high to this swing low, and we are in a deep premium, so I'm going to tick that off too. Are we delivering from a fair value gap? I believe there's a 15-minute gap over here, so I'm going to mark this across like that, and we're going to see if we're respecting that. Yes, so we're going to tick that off. Do we have impulse? Yes. Do we have low resistance? Yes. So can you see how this trade is one where risk should be on? We have impulse created from this inversion. We're delivering from a 15-minute gap. We've got the macro. We've got low resistance here, low resistance here, low resistance here. And let's get into the next example now from the New York session. Let's get into it. So example number 4 is the next macro, and this is 10:45 to 11:15. First thing on the checklist is, are we inside of a macro? It's going to be yes. Second thing is, do we have SMT? Well, let's just have a look on the 5-minute chart to start. We're going to have a look at the lows here. So let me just go across like this. And what I'm kind of curious to see is, has the NASDAQ swept this low and ES not swept that low? Let's have a look. 15-minute chart. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's have a look here. No, it doesn't look like there's any SMT, so I'm going to put a cross there. Do we have a sweep of liquidity? The answer is yes. You can see on the NASDAQ chart, if I move this across, at this point, we've swept sell side and sell side, which is good. So yes. Are we in deep premium or discount? The answer is going to be yes. Swing low, swing high. By this point, we're in deep discount. We're probably in optimal trade entry. Let me have a look. From swing low to swing high. And then let's mark out the OTE ranges, 1 and 2. Yes. So we're actually in optimal trade entry. Perfect. Beautiful. So we're going to tick that off. Are we delivering from a fair value gap? Well, people are going to ask me about this. This here is the opening gap. So I'm going to mark out this whole gap, and I'm going to treat it like a fair value gap. I treat them exactly the same. So yes, do we have impulse with a change in the state delivery? Let me go back to the 1-minute chart, and I'll show you guys that one. Do we have impulse with a change in the state? We have impulse, no change in the state, but we do have impulse there. So I'm going to tick it, and then tick, and then tick. And then do we have low resistance liquidity to targets? Not really, right? So we're going to probably cross that. So again, you're seeing a lot of these A+ setups, guys. A lot of these A+ setups are using this framework. And what you can do with the checklist too, write some notes in here. So if there's other things, other little nuances that you see in price that you want to mark in the charts, write it here in the notes and use this every time before you're taking a trade. Ask yourself these 7 things. Tick or cross it, get into the habit, and then eventually it'll become like a mental thing where you go, look, only 3 things are ticked. It's not really worth much risk, or not really worth trading at all. This checklist will save you. It's an A+ ICT scalping checklist. And again, in terms of like how you trade this, practice with that. Practice with, starting off with, having a trade here, putting your stop above the bodies, right? Going for a 1-to-1 and then holding, just hold. Practice holding, right? To the next sell side. Or over here, same kind of deal, going for a long position from here, put your stop below the bodies, target a 1-to-1, right? Which is roughly about here. And then hold. Hold to either imbalances, fair value gaps, or to a fixed risk reward, 1 to 2, whatever you need to take. With that being said, guys, that concludes this video. I hope this helps. And if you want this checklist, the link to my Discord, both premium and free, will be in the YouTube description. And again, guys, I appreciate all the support. We just recently hit 7,000 subs. So thanks to you guys. I mean, 2 years ago when I started this channel, I really did not think we'd grow this quickly, but I love helping people. I love to trade, and this is my passion. So have a great weekend, guys. And until next time, we'll talk very soon. Peace out.